Joseph, a 17-year-old boy, was tending the flocks with his brothers in the land of Canaan. And he brought his father a bad report about them. Now Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his other sons, because he had been born to him in his old age. He made Joseph a robe of many colors. A robe of many colors. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated Joseph. They could not speak a kind word to him. Later, Joseph had a dream. And when he told his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field, when suddenly my sheaf arose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it." His brothers said to him, "Do you intend to reign over us?" Will you actually rule us? So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. Joseph then had another dream, and he told his brothers. He said, "I had another dream, and this time the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me." When he told his father and brothers, his father rebuked him and said, "What is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down on the ground before you?" His brothers were jealous of him. But his father kept the matter in mind. Now Joseph's brothers had gone to graze their father's flocks near Shechem. And Jacob said to Joseph, "Go and see if all is well with your brothers and the flocks, and bring word back to me." When his brothers saw Joseph from afar, they said, "Here comes that dreamer. Let's kill him and throw him into one of the pits. Then we will say a fierce animal devoured him. We will see what becomes of his dreams." Reuben, the oldest brother, said, "Let us not take his life. Don't shed any blood. Throw him into this pit here, but do not lay a hand upon him." Reuben said this to rescue Joseph from them and to take him back to their father. When Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his colored robe and threw him into the pit. As they sat down to eat their meal, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were loaded with spices, balm, and myrrh, for they were on their way to Egypt. At this, Judah asked, "What will we gain if we kill our brother? What will we gain if we cover up his blood? Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood." While Reuben was gone, his brothers lifted Joseph out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. And blood. When Reuben returned and saw that Joseph was gone, he became torn with grief. He said, "The boy isn't there." Where can I turn now? So they took Joseph's robe and made it look like a wild animal had killed him before bringing it back to their father. When they returned home, Judah said to his father, "We found this. Is it your son's robe or not?" "It is my son's robe. An animal must have devoured him. Joseph was surely torn to pieces." Then Jacob tore his clothes and mourned his son for many days. All his sons and daughters came to comfort him, but he refused them all. He said, "No, I will continue to mourn until I join my son in the grave." Joseph had been taken down to Egypt, where he was bought by Potiphar, an Egyptian who was captain of the guard. Despite everything, the Lord was with Joseph. So that he prospered in all that he did. The Lord was with Joseph. When Potiphar saw that the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. Potiphar put Joseph in charge of his entire household, and the Lord blessed everything Potiphar had, both in the house and in the field. So Potiphar left everything he had in Joseph's care, and he did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate. Now Joseph was well built and handsome, and after a while his master's wife took notice. She asked Joseph to come and take the place of her husband, but he refused. He said, "With me in charge, my master does not concern himself with anything in the house. Everything he owns has been entrusted to my care. My master has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God? And though she pleaded with Joseph day after day, he refused to be with her and go against his master. One day, Joseph went into the house to attend his duties, and none of the household servants were inside. Suddenly, she caught him by his cloak and demanded he be with her. By this, she intended that he lie down beside her. Joseph ran out of the house, leaving his cloak in her hand. When she saw that he left his cloak, she called for her husband and said, "Your slave attacked me. He tried to be with me. When he heard me scream, he left his cloak and ran out of the house." When Potiphar heard the story from his wife, he burned with anger. So he took Joseph and threw him into Pharaoh's prison. But while Joseph was in prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those in prison and made him responsible for all that was done there. The Lord was with Joseph. The Lord was with him. He gave him success in whatever he did. Sometime later, the cupbearer and the baker of Pharaoh offended their master. Pharaoh was angry with them, so he threw them in prison, where Joseph was confined. After they had been in custody for some time, each of the men had a dream the same night, each with its own meaning. When Joseph came to them the next morning, he saw that they were dejected. He asked, "Why do you both look so sad today?" They replied, We both had dreams, but there is no one here to interpret them." So Joseph said to them, "Do interpretations not belong to God? Please, tell me your dreams." The cupbearer said, "In my dream, I saw a vine with 3 branches, and as soon as it budded, it blossomed, and the clusters ripened into grapes. I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup and placed the cup in his hands." "This is what it means," Joseph said. "The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift your head and restore you to your position. You will place the Pharaoh's cup in his hand once more." "But when all goes well with you, remember me and show me kindness. Mention me to the Pharaoh and get me out of this prison. For I was stolen out of the land of the Hebrews, and I have done nothing to deserve this. I was stolen from my home. I have done nothing to deserve being put in this dungeon." When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was favorable, he said, "I too had a dream. On my head there were 3 baskets of bread. In the top basket were all kinds of baked goods for the Pharaoh, but the birds were eating them out of the basket on my head." "This is what it means," Joseph said. "The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift your head from you and hang you in a tree." "The birds will eat your flesh." Now the 3rd day was Pharaoh's birthday, and he gave a feast for all his officials. He restored the chief cupbearer to his position so that he once again put the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker, just as Joseph had said to them in his interpretation. The chief cupbearer, who had promised to remember Joseph, had forgotten. Joseph remained in prison. After 2 full years, the Pharaoh had a dream. He was standing by the Nile when out of the river there came up 7 cows, attractive and fat, and they grazed among the grass. After them, 7 other cows, ugly and thin, came out of the Nile and stood beside the fat and attractive cows. And the ugly, thin cows ate up the attractive and fat cows. Then Pharaoh woke up. But he fell asleep again and had a second dream. 7 heads of healthy and good grain were growing on a single stalk. After them, 7 thin and scorched grains spouted. The thin grains swallowed up the 7 healthy, full heads. In the morning, Pharaoh's mind was troubled, so he sent for all the magicians and wise men of Egypt. He told them his dreams, but no one could interpret them for him. Today, I am reminded of my shortcomings, the cupbearer said. Pharaoh was once angry with me, and he imprisoned me and the chief baker. Each of us had a dream the same night, each with its own meaning. Now there was a young Hebrew man there with us, a servant of the captain of the guard. We told him our dreams, and he interpreted them for us, and things turned out exactly as he had interpreted them. I was restored to my position, and the other man was hanged. So Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and he was quickly brought from the dungeon. Pharaoh recounted his 2 dreams to Joseph, sparing no details. Then Joseph said, "The dreams of Pharaoh are one and the same. God has revealed what he is about to do. 7 years of great abundance are coming, but 7 years of famine will follow. All of the abundance in Egypt will be forgotten, and famine will ravage the land. God will do this soon. He has firmly decided the matter. Now, let Pharaoh look for a discerning and wise man and put him in charge of the land of Egypt." You are this man. Since God has made all this known to you, you must be this man. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. So Pharaoh took his signet ring and put it on Joseph's finger. He dressed him in robes of fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. He had him ride in a chariot as his second in command. And people shouted before him, "Make way! Make way! Make way! Make way!" Joseph was 32 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh. Just as promised, Joseph collected all the food produced in the 7 years of abundance. As the surrounding land suffered from the famine, in all of Egypt there was food, and all the world came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph. Jacob said to his sons, "I have heard there is grain in Egypt. Go and buy some for us." But he did not send Benjamin, his youngest, because he was afraid that harm might come to him. Now Joseph was the governor of the land, the person who sold grain to all its people. So when Joseph's brothers arrived, they bowed down to him. Joseph recognized them, but pretended to be estranged. He said, "You are spies. You have come to see where our land is unprotected." "No, my lord. Your servants have come to buy food. We were 12 brothers, the sons of one man. The youngest is now with our father, and one is no more." "You are spies, and this is how you will be tested. One of you must remain here in prison while the rest of you bring your youngest brother to me. Prove your words." Overcome with his emotions, Joseph turned away from them and began to weep. But when he came back, he had Simeon taken from them. Joseph then gave orders to fill their bags with grain and to put each man's silver back in his sack. The very same silver the brothers brought to purchase the grain. When they came to their father and were emptying their sacks, there in each man's pack was a pouch of silver. "What have we done?" Their hearts sank, and they turned to each other, trembling. Jacob said, "You have deprived me of my children. Joseph is no more, and Simeon is no more, and now you want to take Benjamin? Everything is against me." "You must make this right. Take the best products of the land, return the silver. Now take double the amount of silver with you. Take Benjamin and go back to this man at once, and may God Almighty grant you mercy." So the brothers headed for Egypt. Even though they were frightened, they explained the situation and offered gifts to the man. When Joseph saw them, he said, "It is all right. Do not be afraid. Your God, the God of your father, has given you treasure in your sacks. I received your silver. How is your aged father you told me about? Is he still living?" "Our father is still alive and well," they said. Joseph wanted to know if his brothers were truly sorry for their sin against him. So, after the banquet, he accused Benjamin of stealing and said, To punish you, I will keep Benjamin as my slave. The rest of you are free to go." But Judah protested, saying, "My lord, take my life instead. Please, let me remain here as my lord's slave in place of the boy. Do not let me see the misery that would come on my father." I am Joseph. It is me, your brother. I am Joseph, your brother. But his brothers were unable to answer him because they were terrified at his presence. I am your brother, the one you sold into Egypt. Do not be distressed, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. It was a great deliverance. Now bring my father, and I will look after you all. As soon as Joseph appeared before him, Jacob threw his arms around his son, and his spirit was revived. And so, Joseph and his entire family lived in Egypt together in peace and prosperity.